everyone, Dorothy Wrightsman here, in-house doing a DreamCatchers install. Today what we're going to be doing on our beautiful model Cassandra is a full head of the I-tip extensions. She's been wearing the Bellamy clip-ins for a little while now, but is looking for something with a little bit more longevity and something a little bit more permanent that gives her less time in the morning to get ready. So what I'm doing right now with Cassandra is I'm going to be starting my full head of I-tip extensions. So when trying to section everything, you don't need to group everything on top of the head, as you'll typically get confused, messy, and things like that. So what I've done is I've worked from the top of the crown to behind the ear, and I've sectioned off the front two sections because I'm not going to get to those areas till at least the third, possibly fourth row of my installation. So what I've done is I sectioned those off, and now I'm going to take the back, and I have just a small area, which my first two rows is going to be in this, so I don't have to worry about the front sections. So I'm starting with my first horizontal section down at the nape, leaving just enough hair to where when she pulls her hair up, she's not going to see it. Typically 1 to 2 fingers width, or 1/2 inch to 1 inch, depending on the texture, is the range that you would want to leave around any one of the hairlines. Cassandra came in with clean, smooth, dry hair, which is the ideal situation when you have a client coming in for a fresh install for their extensions. But even though she came in with perfect hair, down in her little nape section, she naturally has wavy to curly hair. So some little areas still need a little bit of smoothing. So to make my installation easier, all I'm doing is I'm taking these and I'm smoothing them out just a little bit more to ensure my proper install will happen. The second row of Cassandra's installation is now complete. You'll notice that the cylinders are hard to see or notice when you're up at that regrowth area. The reason being is you always want to match your cylinder to the base color of your client's hair. I'm using the cylinders in black color. We offer them in 6 different colors, so you have a range of motion when you're working with your clientele. With Cassandra, I am using the 1/2 point extensions, which is a smaller weight for the type of hair that she has. She does have that finer texture, so I don't want to overpower and possibly create more damage using a heavier extension on her. The 1/2 points are 0.6 grams per strand, and you also want to match the cylinder in 1/2 point and the hair in 1/2 point when you're installing. We've now completed the 4th row on Cassandra. So with her, we're definitely trying to give that full, luxurious end result. So I'm still side by side with no natural hair in between. But as I'm getting up towards the top of the crown, I'm not going to be solid any longer in the back. I'm now going to start to space them out. We consider this our layering row. The reason being is you start to allow that natural to come through and introduce itself in between the extensions, instead of like in this row and the rows beneath, we have the extensions overpowering because we're trying to create a new outline result for her. So as I go to my next row, I'm going to start spacing it out. So I've now finished Cassandra's full head install of her I-tip extensions. What I'm now going to do is show you how to create a seamless end result when you're cutting your extensions, especially when working with those shorter lengths that you have, and then creating that long result with the extensions you've just installed. So with Cassandra's hair, what I have here is her shortest length, or her longest length of her natural is right here, and then the length of the DC 20-inch extensions is all the way down through here. So you can see there's a large gap between where her natural starts and stops and where the extensions end as well. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be creating a layered effect starting from her length going through the extensions. The first thing I'm going to establish is the overall length. Cassandra's not extremely tall, so if I was to leave all of these 20 inches, it would only make her look shorter and the hair is going to consume her. So I am going to be taking off about 2 inches, giving her more of an 18-inch end result look. So I'm just going to comb the hair. You want to keep the hair very close to natural fall. You don't want to start elevating a lot. When you start elevating it, you're going to remove more weight. We just put all of this in here, so we don't want to take it away. So I'm just going to go in here, leaving it close to natural fall. I'm going to hold it, and with a feather razor, I'm going to cut on top of my fingers where the tension is. So just taking my feather razor at a slight angle and brushing it against the hair to take off that overall length. Again, taking approximately 2 inches off. When you're cutting extensions, it is 100% visual. There's not a whole lot of technique or sectioning, elevation, things like that that you might typically do within a haircut on a regular client with just natural hair. The extensions are doing a lot of the designing for you, and all you have to do is shape it just a little bit to enhance. By doing the install properly and using those U shapes, a lot of that end result is already created for you. So going through, again, establishing the length that you want. Each client is going to be a little bit different on the desired end result length. Not everybody needs to get extensions to have hair all the way down to their mid-back. Some people like to only add a couple of inches, or density around the face, maybe a long bob, things like that. So extensions don't always have to be long, so you can get creative with your clients for what you're trying to create. So I've just established the overall length that I want to do. Now the next thing I'm going to do is create the face framing around the face. So I'm going to have Cassandra turn towards me. I'm just going to split it in the back and then pull it forward. After doing that, I am then going to find where her natural hair stops, and this is where I'm going to start my face framing in the front. So I'm going to grab it, keeping it very vertical. You're only working on the surface through here. I'm not trying to dig in deep. Again, I'm not trying to take away that density I just added. I'm just creating movement. So again, where her hair stops, that's where I start. A very soft motion to create a feathering effect and creating that movement around the face. I'll typically do it 2 to 3 times just to ensure I have that blending going all the way down, or until you visually like it. Again, it's a very visual cut between you and your client. If you like it, keep it. If you don't, take it away. Going to my other side, creating that face framing effect. You do want to make sure that you are definitely visually balanced from side to side. So I will pull up my face framing to ensure that the pieces that are falling are close to each other. It's never going to be exact, but as long as they're falling very similar to each other on either side. This is also a good area that you can make sure you don't have any peaks. As you can see, I have a little bit of a peak right through here, so I am going to kind of soften that right here. Now that I've created this face framing and it looks more natural right around the face, and I've taken that length off of the back, you are going to have a corner typically right here. So I'm going to have her turn 3/4 to show you guys where this corner comes from. It's happening because I took my length off and then I took length off the front as well. You see right here, I've got a peak. I've got shorter pieces here and clearly shorter pieces here. So you want to soften this corner to give her that rounded, soft effect that doesn't look very heavy like extensions. So you're just going to take it and you're going to slightly walk around, taking the edge off of that corner. So I'll bring it back to show you that the corner's been softened a little bit. And again, just like the face framing, you can do this 1, 2, maybe even 3 times until you get your desired result. So you can see that that corner is already softened. So I'm going to do it one more time to help diffuse it more. Once I've done that, you will notice you've got a very soft effect. So you can see that here. I'm going to spin her to show you the side that is not completed at how much heavier that end result is. So this is the side where I've softened that corner just a little bit, and this is the side that I haven't softened it. You can see that this is more shaping. It's going to give her a better figure, whereas this side is going to lay a little bit more heavy. So now I'm going to go take off the corner of this other side. So Cassandra, I'm going to have you do 3/4 right about there. Thank you. Again, I'm taking from center back, bringing it right to the middle to have my face framing meet the back length that I created. Walking around, softening that corner just to ensure I do what I did on the other side. We like balance. Do it again. So now I'm going to turn Cassandra around to show you that soft round result without any layering that I've done so far. I've only done the face framing, the length, and then that softened corner on the side. Now what I'm going to do is, again, her hair stops here. The extensions are here. So I've created a better balance between the two, but you still want to create movement like a natural hair would have. So in through here, a good rule of thumb is to work in about 1.5 inch, 2 inch range. So if her hair here is here, I want to start my next layer roughly 2 inches below. So I'm going to start to create my next layer here and then work my other layer down through here. As you're going up your rows, and you're creating that space in between each row, it already does do a little bit of layering for you, so you don't have to get excessive with the cutting that you're doing. Again, we installed about 5.5 bundles on Cassandra. I don't want to take all of that away. I just want to create that movement. So, Cassandra, I'm gonna have you turn right here. So I found the best way, or one of the best ways, there's lots of ways to do it, is I like to use my fingers to create spaces in between where I can pick and choose where I want to put layers. So I'm going to grab it, and then you'll see right here her length of a natural is stopping. I'm going to go just below that, and then right here I'm just going to divot on top of these 3 little creases to create some layering effects. Being very, very light within my touch, because again, if you dig too much, you're gonna remove weight that you just installed. And your client might not be happy. Cassandra's pretty nice, so I think she'll be okay. Go through here, and you just wanna create that movement. It's completely visual. So once you do a little bit of layering, loosen it up, let that movement happen, because she's not gonna stand stick straight her entire life. She likes to move around. So as she moves, her hair is also gonna move. So move it around, and if you see areas like this little piece right here, it's laying a little heavy. So I'm gonna grab it, and I'm gonna dig into it just a little bit, just enough to give her some movement. And you're gonna do this until you're happy with it. One thing I would say is take a step back, look at it, and then take a step forward, and then continue if you need to. But don't get too cutting happy, scissor happy, razor happy, whatever you wanna say, because it's easy to cut too much, and it's gonna cost a lot more to put it back, and your client might not wanna do that either. So just creating that movement. So as you see with Cassandra, I've done just a little bit of layering, but you can see the little bit of movement that it's added to making it look natural.